it's so, shout out to everybody last night. First of all, shout out to Mrs. Hill, amazing miseducation, and I'm headed to the venue, and then I see Dougie Fresh coming out pouring with sweat, and I'm like, I know Dougie just smashed it.
Oh my God, I'm so honored to have
Janae Monet.
Yes.
Insane talent. It was just, last night was
legendary, and that's why you was on the stage.
Yeah, came on and just caught a vibe.
You know, did what you do, what you've been doing. But tell us about your partnership with TIAA and what inspired your involvement.
Well, first of all, with TIAA, the first thing I would say, my whole entire life, right? I come from a group called the Fugees, which is short for refugees. And the core message, ever since a kid, has always been to make you see yourself as greater than you might think that you are, right? So we wanted to start with the idea of the refugee, but now let's take within these United States of America. What are we? We're like the American dream. So the idea is like, and what is the immigrant story? So when you hear records like, you know, Killing Me Softly, Hips Don't Lie, Santana's Maria Maria, right? These records take you to a place in a time where now if you start to pay attention, take a record like Maria Maria, you know, it talks about generational wealth. Go back and listen to that record Maria Maria, you know, where we talk about the economic situations. I could take you to Hips Don't Lie with Shakira, right? Even though it's making you dance and it's making you move, if you was to take a second to look at it, you say, oh man, this is within the Americans, right? So now take our community. Take our urban community where policies have constantly failed us. So there's two ways of connectivity, though, because I'm from the projects. So one is sports, right? Because what happens is through sports, there's ways to give information without overclouding the youth. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, if I'm on the court, you on the court, and we're about to play some ball, and I'm 50, and then I'm playing with my young 20, you know, and then the 20 gonna be like, okay, come on, old man, show me what you got. And now what's gonna be got is based on determination of how good we are. And then so that's sort of like how we have to approach retirement. So retirement can be approached like, okay, like you talking to a young boy, you're like, man, you gotta start saving your money. And you're like, come on, man, I'm gonna be, no, you're not gonna be good. So giving that information to start with the young generation and all the way to, let's take someone who's, I'm 53 right now. So think about, I know I look good.
You look good.
I know, but think about my generation. So that means like, we was there last night, the 90s was in the house, and we're looking and people saving their money and we all coming here. But think about how many of us from the 90s have not saved. And how many of us, so when I saw the stats on black folks, us black folks, and within the situation of retirement that don't even have money to retire, that sort of like for me was a natural gel with TIA.
Yeah, so it says 54% of Black Americans do not have enough money saved to maintain their standard of living in retirement. You were kind of talking on this, but what's your thoughts on that statistic, and what do you think we can do to start combating that issue?
Man, I think the statistics is, earlier we said that, but what I want y'all to look at is moving forward, how do we approach it before it's too late? So this is very important. So now we have identified a problem. Now, what is the solution? So the solution is information and discipline. So how are we gonna get, because there's a lot of ways for you to save that you are not informed on. So earlier we had a panel. So I would say the first thing is, how do we start to convey this information, right? Because to the average person, so they understand tax benefits and different situations on how for them to save and not make this mistake moving forward. So again, I think two parts of it is, how do we start to convey this information before it's too late? And then for those that are within the situation, how do we help them out and show them that it's not too late? That's literally the government, right, has provided so many different programs that we can take advantage of, but we're not informed of that. So I think that's where it starts.
And so tell us about about your retirement plans and how early did you get started on preparing for retirement?
I think I'm a perfect example of it, right? So for me, my retirement plan starts with my daughter. And it's important. So what does that mean? That means that when I got 30, I was like, so if you say, yo, Clef, man, what's your retirement plan, right? And I said, well, my retirement plan is my publishing. And he said, well, what does that mean? Then I said, well, I own all of these compositions. And you're like, well, what does that mean? And I said, well, take, for example, a Bob Marley catalog. What is that for? So for a man that writes songs like Maria Maria, Hips Don't Lie, Now what is that catalog? So that means in my 30s, hold up, I can't be selling off my rights.
Right.
I have to hold on to my rights, right? Because now at 53, I would have been like, oh man, you own this song. Nope. Did you write it? Yeah, but I sold the rights when I was so-and-so because I was trying. So it's important that we don't make emotional decisions, right? So I think also too, when we talk about our retirement plan, my retirement plan has to start with my daughter. And what does that mean? So she's 18 and she goes, well, Dad, Mom, I don't want to go to college. I want to pursue an acting career, okay? Now, her mom's Caribbean, Haitian, so she said, that's good. But guess what? This is your first house. And this is what it's worth. And this is called real estate. And what you're gonna do is, you're gonna make sure that this house stays in condition. You're gonna speak to the tenants. You know, you're gonna look at it. You're gonna have your own LLC. This is where it starts. So the information, so think about it. So the whole thing is my parents made it so I could do better.
Right.
And then giving me information. So I want everybody that's looking at this to understand that don't be apologetic. People be like, oh, you're spoiling your kid. No, you're not. You have to make sure that the child understands at a very young age the importance of saving and the importance of understanding what the policies and the laws are at a very young age so they know what they could take advantage of.
Right.
In my 20s, right, think about it, I'm 20-something, I'm moving around. If I knew what the tax benefits were then, I probably could have had an extra 100 million somewhere. You get what I'm saying to you? Just, it's real talk, you know what I mean?
So, what are some stigmas around retirement that you hope initiatives like TIAA can help combat?
All right, so it's sort of like retirement now ain't retirement back then. This is so important. So my brother-in-law, he's retired. And what does it look like? He's on a boat every day, fishing. He's out here at the Essence partying. Then they on their way to Dubai. Or after Dubai, they'll go to Italy. It's like, what?
Yes.
It's sort of like now, the idea of retirement is purely a celebration to celebrate your chapter 2. It's almost like you work hard, right? And you say, man, now I want to take my years of working so hard to play hard and enjoy myself. So this is the stigma. Used to be like, yo, all right, man, I'm gonna retire. Now I'm gonna go to Florida to die. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a fact.
Yo,
That
we
is
don't,
what
yo.
The initial thought
It's
was.
the complete reverse. We want y'all to know. Yo, when you retire now, it's purely a celebration. It's called Chapter 2. All that hard work I did, I'm about to have fun now.
Speaking of fun and the fit, it's definitely giving me like I'm a legend in this 50 years. We are celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Last night you shut it down with Lauryn Hill. How does it feel to have a career in the field dating back 30 years?
Yeah, I came in the game. I was 15.
Oh my God.
That's when I started. Yeah.
So you've seen the trajectory, you've seen all the change, you've seen the growth. What's it like a child, like watching a child grow up and being like his uncle? How do you feel in your role in?
Well, I mean, my role in hip hop is deep. It's a deep role. So I'm looking at Flau'jae, and I'm like, man, it's like now here I am with Lauryn, you know, and here I am with Beyonce, you know, and I was looking the other day. Beyonce was like, yo, Clef the first one who put us on tour. Gave us our first break. So for me, when I'm I'm looking at it, you know how you have within our constitutions, like the forefathers and the elements of hip hop. It's just amazing as a man from the Caribbean to be able to as a Pan-African, you know, like someone who understands the globalization of the world, to be part of bringing hip-hop globalization to the world. So you have to understand, when the Fugees crossed the waters, the Fugees was going into territories that knew nothing about hip-hop. And being like we were so melodic, we was able to have people that don't think, oh, hip-hop is one way. Hip-hop can be 100 different ways. And people say, what's the genesis of it? I said, culture. I said, preservation of culture. I said, we're no different than when you're looking at Cap Calloway or Nina Simone. It's just, it has remorphed in a way. You can't say it's one thing because we are what you call, what? A hip-hop generation.
Yes.
So 50 years of a hip-hop generation, what do we look like? Moguls, tycoons, innovators, tech entrepreneurs, engineers, lawyers, like, you know, it's just amazing because in all respect to the fathers who actually started this thing, right? And people be like, yo, man, how do you feel, man, when you're not even listed in the top 20 favorite rappers of all time, right? I'd be like, I said, man, I never wanted to be listed as the top 50. I said, my role model was Quincy Jones. So 10,000 years from now, I want to be known as one of the top composers of my generation because, so my part was, we call it global gumbo, the idea of like, I remember when they would not play Spanish music on urban stations. You know, people told me Maria would not play on this station because it was like too Latin. And I was like, what are you talking about? We Pan-African. So you telling me my black people don't know about the salsa, we don't know about the mumba? Are you kidding me? So being able to do all of that and looking and sitting back, and in this chapter 2 is just amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that answer. Was just so beautiful because you really put it in perspective and reminded everybody why you wanted to go. And just in honor of hip hop's 50th anniversary, can you remember the song that made you fall in love with hip hop?
Yes. Damn, I'll always remember, man. It's ill, man, because you're in the projects and it's very hot.
Yes.
And we all piled up on each other, you know what I'm saying? And the faucet is not working. And we outside and my cousin come, he turns the wrench, and now we have the fire hose where the water's coming out of the fire hose, and we drinking that water, we splashing it on each other, and then this record comes on, and it goes, 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to stand for MC Ron, and it was amazing because it was just the first time, it was just a vocal and a beat.
Right.
Cuckoo cap, cuckoo cap, cuckoo cap, cuckoo cap. And I was like, who is this? They was like, yo, it's this group called Run DMC. And that just changed it for me because I was like, man, it seemed like that whatever that sound was, it brought hope to me in that community. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
You always are just not, it's more than just beyond the music. You are really for us, for our culture. And
100%.
You've uplifted me in so many ways with your beautiful music.
Thank you.
Just being you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, my sister. Love.